بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I begin in the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and I bear witness there is none worthy of worship except He, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is his last and final messenger. As the brothers introduced, today's topic is Halloween and the Muslim witch hunt. This is the title. It's a very interesting topic, inshallah, and something that should be thought-provoking for us as Muslims, because we should take this time of Halloween and the things that are associated should be a reminder for us as Muslims what's our situation. And it might not be a time that we actually would consider is something to provoke thinking amongst us as Muslims, but it should be an opportunity for us to reflect nevertheless. Because when we look to Halloween and we look to October 31st, next Sunday, we see it as a time of tricks. Everyone knows about trick-or-treating. And we'll find even a lot of youth, they'll be on the street from our community, a lot of Muslim youth, they'll be out as well doing trick-or-treating, or even if they're not trick-or-treating, people will be out throwing eggs and so on like this. These sort of things, isn't it? And maybe some of us, I can tell from some of the guilty smiles, maybe in the past we were doing this sort of thing. Yeah, because we saw it as just something that was a bit of fun, it was a bit of a laugh. And there are 2 points really we should keep in mind when we think of this time of trick-or-treating, and it always comes as well with fireworks night. That this behavior and this attitude and this culture is something that's got nothing to do with Islam. That's very obvious to all of us. And really this culture where people take it as an opportunity to victimize people, they take it as an opportunity to attack people, it's got nothing to do with Islam. It's not the way a Muslim should behave. And that's a very obvious thing that all of us can recognize. We all can understand that. We all know that to be true. But what greater lessons are there, or what major lessons are there from the role of this trick-or-treat, this Halloween culture? Where does it fit in with the values? Where does it fit in with the history? What are the lessons that we as Muslims can learn from this trick-or-treat Halloween culture? And we can see that this is something we see it very much in films. You know, you heard of the Halloween film. You see all of these things that are related to these ghosts and spirits coming out on Halloween. But how far back does this go into the British history or European history? And we find it's got very deep roots. So these things that you see kids doing on the street, you may think it's just a little bit of fun. Maybe some mask that they got from a shop around the corner, but it's got very deep roots in the culture of this country. And the reason why is because in the days before Christianity, they used to have a festival called Samhain. Yeah? And this used to be considered the first night of winter. After this period of time, they considered it was at the beginning of the winter. And not just the beginning of winter, it was the beginning actually of the new year. They used to start the calendar at the beginning of November. So on this night was a very auspicious night. It's a very special night. And people used to make a lot of festivals, a lot of activities, because of how important this night was, according to their beliefs. Because they used to believe that the ghosts or the spirits of the dead, they used to come out, they used to rise, and they would go back to the places that they were associated with in their lifetime. So in the lifetime, a man who lived in a certain house, he would go back to his house on that night of October 31st to visit his family. And his family, to welcome him back, they would put out food for him. Yeah, they'd have these celebrations, and they would even put lanterns, these pumpkins that you see. It would be a lantern that they would carve to greet and welcome back the spirits of the dead. But at the same time, they thought and they believed that there were evil spirits who would come back as well, that would return, and they wanted to warn those people away. So maybe there was someone, if we look back in that time, in the time of that era, that maybe you owed someone some money, and he passed away. Yeah, or you owed him, let's say you stole his goat, for example, yeah? Looking back in history, yeah? So you stole his goat, he's going to come back because he's dead now, yeah? He wants his goat back, he's angry. So what do you do? What do you do if you owe someone something and you don't want him to catch you? Yeah, or you don't want him to bother you? You put on a mask, you hide yourself. Why? So he doesn't recognize you. So the people believed what they would do, they'd go around with masks on, So if someone came to them, one of these ghosts, one of these spirits came to them, I want my goat back. Blood, I want my goat back. Yeah? They would be able to say, it's not me, or rather, it's not the man you're looking for, because can't you see my appearance is different. So they would do these things because of this belief. And this festival of Samhain, as I mentioned, it was one of the big festivals of the year. And even some of the other things we may be used to seeing is like, for example, these toffee apples. Yeah? Toffee apples. The reason why people eat these things is because in the past, they used to use this as a way of telling their future, their fortune for the year ahead. So what they would do is, for example, they'd get a barrel of water, put apples in it, and people would dip their heads in and try and catch an apple with their teeth. And then if they brought the apple out, it would be seen as a good sign for the future, for the new year. So a lot of their hopes and desires were tied into this festival. And for that reason, it was a very popular thing in the culture of those people in that time. Now, what's the relevance of this discussion? Because obviously, today, people don't believe in those things. Yeah, their culture is completely different. They even say that they're Christians. They don't have these roots anymore. So those things are relics in the past. They've got nothing to do with today's life. But what's the connection to today? Or what's the lesson we can learn from today? And the lesson we can learn, or one of the issues we see, is these things have become still in the culture today. They're still ingrained in the culture today. And the reason why is because in the past, the Christians, they wanted to spread their values. And they wanted to change the beliefs and the values of the people in the society around them. So here in Britain, there are a lot of these people who still believed in those ancient beliefs. They still believed in these things like witchcraft. They still believed in these things like these spirits coming on the night of Halloween. Yeah, or rather this night of Samhain, as they used to call it. So, the Christians, they wanted to change the values and make the people shift to their values. So they saw that the people had a culture that they were holding on to and values that they believed in, and they wanted to change those values. So the way they went to these people and changed their values is they gave them a new version of their deen, as you like, of their values, of their religion. And they said, adopt this one because it's very similar to what you already hold. So what the Christians did, one of the popes, one of the leaders of the Christians, Pope Gregory III, what he did is he swapped one of the holidays. So he changed his own deen, he changed his own values and religion to make it more appealable, more appealing to the people of Europe and to the people of Britain. So they had a festival called All Saints' Day. They used to take place in May. And what they did, they said, let's swap All Saints' Day from May, let's make it on the same day as this festival called Samhain. Yeah? Let's make it on the same day and bring some of the same messages, and that way we make it more appealing to these people and they easily shift their values and change their beliefs to fit in with our culture. So they moved this festival called All Saints' Day, they moved it to Halloween, they made it a big night where they opened all the churches, they had big celebrations, and slowly but surely this started to draw the people away from their own beliefs and away from their own heritage towards this Christianity. So they had this new version of Christianity and a new version of their old beliefs, what they call paganism, where they mixed a bit of this of Christianity and they mixed a bit of this pagan beliefs about Halloween, and then you got this new festival. So the people left what they had before and they came to this new mix of cultures. You can see the same thing with Easter. Yeah, if you look at Easter, they celebrate Easter eggs. So you could ask, what's the Easter egg got to do with Christianity? Yeah, is there something in the Bible that talks about eggs? Yeah, there's no eggs. Well, there may be eggs, I don't know. There may be eggs in the Bible, but that's not the point, yeah? The reason why Easter has got eggs and everyone's giving eggs and chocolate egg this and chocolate egg that is because in the past they used to worship a god called Easter. And she was the god who was associated, her symbol was the egg. Yeah? Now, that may sound funny, but let me explain why, yeah? Now the reason why the symbol is because it was a symbol of new birth. So when the women, they couldn't have children, they would pray to this god. And they would give her, they would give her gifts, and they would give, this type of worship where you give an egg, you're going to get a child. This is the basic idea.